Good morning. This is Dr. Heather Martin, and I am here to share a little bit about what I did last year in Zambia as a missionary associate with Assemblies of God, and what I am going to be doing in the future. My plans are to go back in about a year, hopefully early 2016, once I raise my support and take my pediatric boards. And I will be there full-time as a missionary first for a 3-year term, and then coming back to the States to raise support again. I'm going to give you a little bit of background about Zambia. It is in the southern part of Africa. It has about 14 million people, about the size of Texas. And the thing for the pediatrician's heart of mine is 46% of the population is under the age of 15. Here you can see some general pictures of what the rural Zambia looks like, and then the famous Victoria Falls, which Zambia shares with Zimbabwe. There's a lot of physical needs in Zambia. From the medical side, I look at what the health care is like, and there's only 7 doctors for every 100,000 people, compared to here in Berrien Springs, where we have around 120,000 people, and we have more than 100 physicians for that many people. About 1 million people, or 12% of the population, are living with HIV/AIDS. A number of spiritual needs also. Christianity is strong there, but a lot of times it ends up being mixed with your animism or African traditional religion. In particularly one of the church groups I work with, the Assemblies of God, Zambia, they have 415 pastors for 700 churches. So there's a great need for teaching and raising up more pastors. And there's a number of churches that end up meeting in schools or other buildings. And so there's a real need for building churches. Some of the things I've been working with is a great group called Community Health Evangelism. And we're able to go out into both cities and in the rural areas and raise up community health workers. These are just local people who we teach medical basic health messages to, and discipleship and evangelism lessons, and then they go out and reach their neighbors and visit them on a weekly basis. We've seen some incredible changes in communities through this. They then work on projects. We had one community where there were no pit latrines, or only a few of them, and they have worked along with the government, and now there are over 500 pit latrines in that community, and it's part of the government building code that when a family starts a new plot or builds a house, that there has to be a proper pit latrine on that ground. So the amount of diarrheal diseases have greatly reduced in that community. And in that same area, there were over the last 5 years, 2 different churches planted from people just reaching out to their neighbors with the gospel. I have a neat partnership with our local churches in this. This particular picture is of a health screening that we did with one of my local churches that I went to. We did blood pressure and blood sugar and BMI and HIV screening, along with praying with patients or with anybody who needed special prayer requests and that. And within that one day, we saw 5 people come to know the Lord, and saw over 70 people. A number of my partners also do help with building Africa Tabernacles. And there's a Bible school there, and I got to teach a health class and a music class to the local pastors. This just really a little bit, a slide, another one about community health evangelism. These workers go through 150 hours of training, and at the end they receive a Bible in their language and a shitengi, which is their skirt. So this is one of those graduation ceremonies. And this is really the essence of what it is about. This is our leader, Lovemore, praying with a little girl and her mom. Ruthie had hydrocephalus from spina bifida, is out in this very rural community. And medically we can do a little bit, but spiritually is where it's at. And this is one of our success stories. We have a supplemental feeding program for HIV positive people. And this little girl, Rosie, was 4 years old in that first picture and not walking, just had gotten out of the hospital for treatment. And I was able to screen her and tell Mom there's nothing physically wrong with her, that she can't walk from a muscle or nerve standpoint. And you see her today after she did the supplemental feeding program, and she was running around. It was about 2 years later. She's running around smiling just as much. We had some conventions with all the community health workers. Just a really neat time of teaching appropriate technology, a lot of farming techniques, clean water and nutrition, and then just a spiritually uplifting time too. I started a program called Helping Babies Breathe, which is a simple neonatal resuscitation program that can be taught to healthcare workers, but then also community health workers. I was able to teach 2 community health groups, and I'm hoping as I go back to connect with the government a little bit more and be able to help them as they want to reach out to some of their healthcare workers with a similar program. Our next plans are a women's cervical cancer screening mobile medical clinic. We were donated this mobile clinic, and we are going to be connecting with the government and community churches to bring cervical cancer screening to areas where the women can't make it to a clinic or there's not one nearby. You can do some treatment and screening at that same time, and we'll be connected with the government hospital in the capital, and they can look in real time if we have a question about a particular case. We can connect with them and help the person get to the capital if they need to at that point. It's also a really neat way to reach out into the churches. We're hoping to do some women's conferences and really speak into the lives of some of these young women, and give them an understanding of who they are as women and who they can be as women in Christ in the church. And then for my part, when women come, they always bring their children with, and so as a pediatrician, I am looking forward to helping do some health screening and treatment of the children as they're there. These are just some pictures of my teaching with the pastors. When I was there, my parents came and we were able to teach one of the girls groups at one of the churches and some leadership training conferences with pastors. And this is what a church going up looks like. You can see them constructing it. This goes up in one day, which is really impressive there. It really draws a lot of attention to the community. And it's a really neat program because the churches in the Canada and the United States partner with these local churches. The United States congregations supply the money for the outside structure and the roof. The local church has the land, and then as it goes up, as they can raise more money, they can put up the walls and the doors and get the chairs and the floor and everything. So it's a really neat partnership. And you can see this was the handover service when we handed over to that local church. And I also worked in a couple clinics, one out in the country, one in the city. A really just neat time to be able to meet people's needs, give them competent medical care, but then also compassionate medical care, and being able to pray with them at some very serious points of need. And then just the last picture of all the kids. These are the faces, the reason that I want to go back. I really appreciate Southwestern Medical Clinic, my partners there that make this possible, that I can come and go and still have a place to come back to, and all the prayer and financial support they give me. If you ever want to hear more, or I would love to come talk to a small group or a church, I have a web page that you can go to at zambiaadventures.blogspot.com. You can read more about the things I've been doing, or I have a Facebook page at Zambia Adventures. I just thank you so much for being the support to help me go and reach the people of Zambia with God's healing touch.